Hey, there were two, everybody. The world's a better place because you were here to join us. My name is Matt Bryan, and I am the host of the Productive Conversations podcast. And we are reacting to the AFC and NFC championships. Super Bowl 60 is set. The New England Patriots are representing the AFC. The Seattle Seahawks are representing the NFC. Super Bowl 60, the Patriots versus the Seahawks. A rematch of Super Bowl 49, a Super Bowl I know you all expected to see. Just kidding. And yeah, we got two championship games. One was grueling to watch, and the other was a thriller, an absolute thriller. So let's discuss it, let's react, and let's enjoy as we head to Super Bowl, as we head into two of the coolest weeks of the year, in my opinion. The week before the Super Bowl to add to the hype, and then Super Bowl week. And then 2 weeks from today, we will complete our coverage of the 2025 NFL season and crown a new champion. And very interesting ways that these two teams got here. So let's do it and let's talk about the AFC and NFC championships. And before we do it, I just want to remind you to like and subscribe to the Productive Conversations podcast on all podcast platforms and YouTube. And don't forget to check out exclusive content regarding the show across all social media platforms. We're on Instagram at Productive Conversations Podcast, X and Twitter at Pod. We're on TikTok at Productive Conversations and Facebook at Productive Conversations. And we're on TikTok at Pod, excuse me. And we got a regular week up ahead. We have this reaction to the AFC and NFC championships. Tuesday, we have a tweet cap as we talk about what happened in our world over the weekend. Yes, from the another ice tragedy to the snowstorm. We're here, no power outage, thank God. Tracy Morgan stands up to his old bully. That was cool, and there'll be other things to get into. And then we have a UFC preview once again, UFC 325. This time, Dolo and Jose will be right there. That'll drop on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we will do another tweet cap and talk about what's happening in the week ahead. So lots to do, lots to get into, but let's talk about what you're here for, and that's reacting to the AFC and NFC championships. Okay, so let's get into the AFC championship to kick us off. Yes, pun intended. So it was a defensive masterclass in frigid conditions. We had the New England Patriots take on the Denver Broncos. A trip to the AFC, a trip to the Super Bowl is on the line. We have this big matchup for the AFC Championship right here. And the AFC Championship ends with the New England Patriots winning this game. The New England Patriots win by a score of 10-7 over the Denver Broncos. They win on the road, 9-0 on the road, the first team to ever do that. And they are going to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2018 when they played the Rams and won. I believe that game was in Atlanta. So, yeah, we had the Patriots coming in here 17-3 against the 15-4 Broncos, in Power Field at Mile High in Denver, and the Patriots win by a score of 10-7. So at first the game actually looked pretty crisp and cool, but it obviously turned into a snow game from there. And then it was a battle in the trenches. Who is going to pull this off? A old school in the snow for a trip to the Super Bowl on the line, and the Patriots go out on top. There's also I saw they've now won 40 playoff games as a franchise. That is the most ever. But give credit, Mike Vrabel comes in. The Patriots are 4-13, and he leads the team to a Super Bowl. And sure, we could talk about the easy strength of the schedule, and then the playoffs going up against Justin Herbert, C.J. Stroud, two quarterbacks known for struggling in big games, and then a backup quarterback. But I digress because he still had to go up against two stellar defenses in the Broncos and Texans. But give credit to Drake Maye in this game, 10 for 21, 86 passing yards. Obviously, on paper, that isn't much, but you saw with his legs, he made a big impact. 10 carries for 65 rushing yards, got New England its only touchdown, and it was his mobility and keeping the offense on the field that was the key to this game. Also, Christian Gonzalez, who was missing for a good, who was missing at points at this season, comes back in this game. He gets the game-winning interception and a big sack. Ronmore Stevenson, who people felt would be a big factor in this game, if he could get solid yards on the ground, then this team has a chance. And that's what happened. 71 rushing yards on 25 carries. Kept that clock moving and put the Patriots in the position they're in. As for the Broncos, you're starting Jared Stidham. Hasn't played a game since very early in 2024. And at first, you saw some flashes. Ultimately ends with 17 for 31, 133 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception at the end of the game. But he really struggled as the snow kept coming down. Cortland Sutton was really the only thing on offense that was impressive with that 6-yard touchdown. And that 152-yard pass from Marvin Mims to Marvin Mims Jr., that was it, unfortunately, for the Broncos offense. And yeah, they both in that sequence, they score early in the first quarter, but then the Patriots tie after that. And then going into the half, both kickers were struggling. Lutz missed a field goal. Borgalis misses the field goal. The fact that they didn't actually go for the field goal early in the first quarter, they go for it on 4th down. They get stopped. And what happens? They lose by 3. Bad move by Sean Payton, who usually is on point with these in-game decisions. And then, as I mentioned, the big factor here was that 16 play, 64 yards, 9-minute and 30 seconds, and 9-minute and 30-second time of possession that led to a field goal. But that's all the Patriots needed because the Patriots defense took care of them after that. Jared Stidham really struggled in the cold. I actually thought they had a chance in this game, and then Mother Nature just came in. What are you going to do? Will this game have been much different if Bo Nix was in it? Yeah, I think a lot different. It would have been even more competitive. But there was these receivers for Denver weren't getting any separation. The running game was mute for Denver. They've had their injuries on the running game, and I think that was an unfortunate side effect. I mean, the Broncos had such a challenge ahead after Bo Nix gets hurt, and yet gets hurt, and then I mean, I guess they kind of expected this game that they would only score 7 points at home in the AFC Championship, and it happened to be very early in the game too. So they were pretty much shut out for 3/4 of this game, where their Pro Bowl kicker wasn't making field goals, and it was a mess. And again, give credit to Mike Vrabel for what he's done. What a great coach! Very impressive. I saw some stat like, since he got fired for Tennessee, which will now be an infamous decision for that organization. That's such a mess. But we'll see if Salas can turn them around out of all coaches. I don't know if that's going to work out, but we'll save those for off-season conversations. And yet, I saw the stat like since mid-December, the Patriots with the combining the late season victories and the postseason victories, they have more wins than the Titans have had since they fired Vrabel a couple years ago, which is nuts, but it is what it is, right? I mean, the Patriots are back, and again, I don't want to. It is low-hanging fruit to make fun of the easy way out, the cupcake way to get to the Super Bowl, but they had to win games when they needed to. That's all that matters. They didn't make dumb decisions. Drake Maye's been up and down in the postseason, but when he's up, he's really up. Well, he's just a really good facilitator in the game, which you really like to see for a quarterback only 23 years old. And if they could somehow pull off this upset, that'd be pretty damn impressive. I think the youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl since Dan Marino. back in the mid-'80s. We know what happened with him, but the future hasn't been written yet. But yeah, Drake Maye, though he wasn't flashy in this game, it was the legs that counted and why they're in the position they're in. So give credit to the Patriots. They are representing the AFC, and job well done. I'll go and say that they deserved it because it mattered the most. And who knows how different the Houston game could have been if Nico Collins wasn't hurt, if it wasn't raining cats and dogs in New England. And I think they only played one team above 500 against the Bills in the regular season, but yet they're here. So if that teaches you and I anything, win when you have to. So now let's transition to the NFC Championship. By far the better game of the two, and a game that was just so much fun to watch from start to finish. And if you had some same game parlays, a lot of skill position players got a lot of stats on the board, so I hope people took advantage of that. And with the game on the line, with the trip to the Super Bowl on the line, the Los Angeles Rams visited the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seahawks win the game. They win the NFC Championship by a score of 31-27. They punched their ticket to Super Bowl 60, their fourth Super Bowl in franchise history. Give credit to the Rams in this, right? This NFC Championship will be known as the Sam Darnold redemption game. No more doubting him. No more saying he can't play in the big game, which I've said on this show during the regular season, especially during the regular season game at home against the Rams. Or no, I think it was at the road against the Rams. But regardless, though, against the Rams, key turnovers were in that game, and yet Sam Darnold played the game of his life. And when you play the game of your life in the NFC Championship, you will be remembered for that. So here, look at this line. Sam Darnold, excuse me. Sam Darnold, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and he got them back to the Super Bowl for the first time in 11 years. These two teams were split 1-1, and it was the better team that ultimately pulled this off. And Mike Macdonald, very quiet for these last 2 years. I don't even know if you know that he is the youngest coach in the NFL. And Sean McVay, who I believe he was on that staff, who's part of his coaching tree, he now is the youngest head coach to make it to the Super Bowl. Very, very impressive. And let me ask Alexa. Hey, Alexa, is Mike Macdonald part of Sean McVay's coaching tree? Hey, Alexa, stop. Okay. Let me just confirm Mike Macdonald, Sean McVay coaching tree. Let me confirm that. Did Mike Macdonald coach under McVay? No, he didn't. I apologize. Whoops. Oh well, lesson learned. And so we will shake that off. But anyways, regardless, Mike Macdonald's still very impressive. Youngest coach in the NFL. Now he's led this team. He's a clear football guy. Did you see that post-game interview? Not much to say, but he just proves why he's one of the best play callers in the NFL. In this game for Seattle, Jackson Smith-Njigba is enhancing his legacy, improving why he is. I think now, I've been saying it for a lot. I've been saying it often this season, but he is the best receiver in the NFL now. He's the reason why they're in this position. Next to Sam Darnold, I give credit to JSN. And Puka will have that title, and he made some big plays in this game. We'll talk about him shortly, but JSN stepped up when he needed to. Hear this. 10 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown, including that one-handed catch highlight reel that will be played forever and ever. Kenneth Walker, after a stellar game against San Francisco, he picks up where he left. After a stellar game against San Francisco in the divisional round, he picks up where he left. He picks up where he left off. 111 scrimmage yards. He rushed in for a touchdown, and he really threw this pass rush off for the Rams. And the guy who made the big play at the end, Devon Witherspoon, broke up 2 potential game-winning passes in the red zone for the Rams in the final drives of the game. And in the second half, he knocks it down, gets a redemption, and great stuff for the defensive back. Rams did play a really good game. But let's look at Matthew Stafford, who's probably the MVP of this game, who's probably the MVP of the NFL. 374 yards himself and 3 touchdowns. And unfortunately, he comes with a loss. Puka Nacua was great. You did see the 2 best receivers in the league. Again, and he's right there, 165 yards and a touchdown. And unfortunately, he dropped too early before he went out of bounds so they could get one more throw in there. And then you got to be happy for Cooper Kupp. This Rams team moved on from him this season. Who knew? There was a good chance he wasn't even going to be on a roster. Seahawks gave him a chance, put up a town this season, really stepped up in the divisional, and he got a big touchdown in this game against the team that let him go, the team that he played for and won the Super Bowl MVP for. But he's the one who's going back to the Super Bowl, and the Rams are not. But yeah, in this game, Seattle jumped to an early 7-0 lead after a big 51-yard bomb from Darnold to Rashid Shaheed. He had a great game, and then Kenneth Walker ran in for that. The muff punt will be something that Rams fans will want to forget forever. But yeah, a muff punt in the third quarter gifted Seattle gave them a short field advantage, and they scored after that with that touchdown to Jackson Smith-Njigba. And with trailing 31-27 with under 5 minutes left, the Rams drove 79 yards down to the Seattle 8, facing a 4th and 4. The Seahawks dropped to the coverage, and Matthew Stafford threw the pass, and Witherspoon knocks it down from his pass to Terrence to Terry Ferguson, and that ultimately became the deciding factor. And in the last drive, Seattle picked up 4 crucial first downs on the final drive to bleed the clock out. We weren't able to get a 5th to ice the game. Matthew Stafford only had 25 seconds and no timeouts to go down the field, and it wasn't enough. But the big game, I think the big factor in this, and only Sam Darnold playing the game of his life, over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, but 0 turnovers in this game. And he's really struggled with the Rams. I think he threw 7 interceptions in total of all the times he played against them. Didn't matter. It really didn't. Clean game, and that's why he will be a legend in Seattle. So, incredible stuff. Really entertaining. Well-deserved. And we got a pretty solid matchup here. It's different. No Chiefs. That's a good thing. Who would have thought the other team who dominated the AFC since the turn of the millennium would be here? And then Seattle, who has been in the Super Bowl in 11 years, who's had pretty good success, and I think this will be 4 Super Bowls in 20 years. But this team looking completely different. Moving on from the Pete Carroll era to the Mike McDonald era. They had the Legion of Boom then, Legion of Boom 2. This is an amazing defense to watch. And right now, the spread for the Super Bowl, it opened at -3.5 for Seattle. Now, all right, literally at this moment, it just went up a point and now went to -4.5 for Seattle. So at this moment, as I'm recording this, right before 11 o'clock on Sunday night, the Seattle Seahawks open as a 4.5 point favorite in Super Bowl 60, which will be 6:30 on NBC/Peacock 2 weeks from today on the 8th of February. Pretty cool stuff, right? I'm intrigued by the Super Bowl. I like the two matchups. We have a veteran quarterback who has had a lot to prove, who wound up who had such high expectations, third overall pick for the Jets, then became a journeyman. I see ghosts, and now he's in the Super Bowl against this up and coming Patriots team. It's a very young Patriots team with a young coach in his first year. I just don't think the Patriots have a chance. Give me the next week and a half to digest if it's going to be how the spread's going to go. But I do expect the Seahawks to cover that 4.5 point spread. This team is going to have a hard time to go up against this offense is going to have a hard time going up against this defense as in the Patriots offense is going to have a hard time going up against the Seattle defense. And then the Seattle offense, who's been nothing but explosive really for the last like 6 weeks. That's going to be a tough hill to climb for the Patriots. But who knows what happens? Stranger things have happened. My favorite football team were 14.5 point underdogs and still won the Super Bowl. Obviously, different time, different teams, but I think this is pretty much a lock for Seattle to win this Super Bowl. And no one saw it coming. But when you really see these games, and I've talked about every single one of them, talked about all 252 games in the NFL, and however many playoff games, but a steep money line at -225. Patriots are pretty big underdogs here, +185. So Seahawks are everything better than the Patriots on paper. But we'll take the next 2 weeks to digest, divulge, and who knows what happens in Santa Clara, California, Levi Stadium with the electromagnetic field not too far away for Super Bowl 60. But regardless, I had a great Sunday. I hope you did. One final show. You and me reacted to the Super Bowl. Well, Ryan will join us, so he'll preview the game with us and then react to it on Super Bowl Sunday night. This is all Seahawks in my eyes, but we'll see what happens there. Regardless, though, congratulations to the Patriots and their fans. Congratulations to the Seahawks and their fans. Tough break for Denver. They have a lot to build on. Same with the Rams, even though the Rams, a very old quarterback, but they still have an MVP. But I'm sure he'll stay if he wants to. So good stuff. Remember, back on Tuesday with the tweet cap, back on Friday with the tweet cap, and a UFC 325 preview on Wednesday. My name is Matt Brown. I'm the host of the Productive Conversations podcast, and I'll be seeing you all throughout the week. Stay safe, all the love, and as I said, be safe out there. See you later. Bye-bye.